Okay, guys, so I want to go ahead and go over the ratios and proportion notes that Miss Miller posted for you back in January 7th. This is when I was still out. I'm going to go over those notes for a few moments, and then I'm going to go over the practice that went with it. So please follow along. If you have not yet completed this assignment, you will want to do so as we do the video. In addition to that, I'm going to have a break in the video where I tell you where to skip to. So for example, I am going to do all of the problems we did in class, but I'm also going to do the extra credit problems as well. So if you are not interested in doing the extra credit problems, I will have a timestamp on the screen at that time. So first of all, we're going to go ahead and talk about what is a ratio. A ratio is simply a comparison of two or more quantities. There are three ways of representing a ratio. One is simply as a fraction, A over B. And we read that as A to B, as seen in the second one. This is how we would write it in English. And then A colon B, which is again read as A to B. All ratios should be simplified if possible, but not all ratios can be simplified. If it is a fraction that would not be able to be simplified, the ratio cannot be simplified. Remember, you can use Desmos to help you with simplifying your ratios if you are struggling with that, and I will show you how to do that as well in this video. The other type of ratio we're going to be working with is an extended ratio, which is a comparison of three or more quantities. Okay, we would write extended ratios as A to B to C. We always use the colons in this case because there isn't a good way to represent this as a fraction. However, we can break it down into fractions in order to compare our triangles at a later time. Okay, so with our ratios, we also want to know about how to do proportions. Proportions are equations that state two ratios are equal. We would write that as A over B is equal to C over D. And the cross product property tells us that for any proportion, A times D is equal to B times C. So what we're going to do is, instead of going over all of these sample problems, which you can do, and if you are confused about any of these sample problems, feel free to reach out to me and ask me questions. We're going to go ahead and go over the matching assignment that went with this. So the most common question people ask me at the beginning of any assignment is, where can I find this assignment? So you can find this assignment in Google Classroom, and the easiest way to get to it is go to this drop-down menu and go to Daily Work instead of scrolling all the way down. And we're not working on this one. Oops. So what we're going to do is look at this ratio practice. This is the one we want to finish. Notice 43 people have not yet completed it. The easiest way for you to access this assignment is to click Open with Kami so that you can get the Kami PDF and edit it. Now, I do know that on the student version, the answer boxes are hard to see, but I assure you they are there. However, if you're having trouble finding them, don't worry about it. Just type the answer directly anywhere else on the screen. I will grade it manually, and in the future, I will draw a box around the box so that it is easy to see. So on this assignment in class, we did numbers 1 through 6, and then we did 13, 14, and 15. So those are the ones that are required for the assignment to be done completely. And actually, we did number 7 as well, sorry. 1 through 7. And 13, 14, and 15. So those are the ones we're going to do. But again, like I said, I am going to pause here after number 7, and then I will give you a timestamp to skip to number 13. So number 1 through 6, it says to write the ratio in the simplest form. That does mean we are going to simplify our fractions wherever possible. And it says to give us 28 elementary schools to 16 middle schools. So remember, we can write these all in A to B. So one thing I'm going to do is say A, and I'm going to highlight B. You are not required to do this. It is just a good way to help visualize it. Now, to show your work on this assignment, you will want to use the equation editor, or you can do it on a piece of paper. If you did it on the paper copy that you were given by Miss Miller, last week, you can just take a photo of that and put it at the end of the assignment. There is a place for you to do that with the take a picture function. Or you can do it on a marker board or on paper and take a picture of all the work at the end or for each problem as you do it. You can also use the equation editor to do these problems. So 28 elementary schools to 16 middle schools. So again, I'm using my equation editor. One way they would want us to write this is 28. Oops. I apologize. This is my new keyboard setup. 28 over 16. Okay, so that's A over B. Now that is not in its simplest form, as both of these numbers are divisible by 4. If I divide both of these numbers by 4, I will get 7 over 4. And you may leave it as this, or if you want it to auto grade, you can go over here and type 7 over 4 in the box if you can find it. Now let's say you were struggling to simplify this ratio of 28 over 6. Again, you can use Desmos. Go 28 divided by 16. And then click this button right here. It says convert to fraction, and it will give you the simplified version automatically. All right, so now let's take a look at number 2. It says 30 treadmills to 36 ellipticals. So again, we're going to go 30 treadmills over 36 ellipticals. And again, that is not a simplified ratio, as both of these numbers are divisible by 6. 30 divided by 6 is 5, and 36 divided by 6 is 6. And that leaves us with a final answer of 5 over 6. Number 3 gives us 18 buses to 66 cars. And again, these numbers are both divisible by 6. So that's going to give us 18 divided by 6 is 3, and 66 divided by 6 is 11. So that means our simplified ratio for 18 buses to cars is 3 over 11. Number 4 tells us they want us to find the ratio of red marbles to blue marbles. So we have 180 red marbles and 145 blue marbles. And we can definitely see that both of these numbers are divisible at least by 5. Not 100% certain. And for the case of simplicity here, I'm going to go ahead and put this one into Desmos as well. So 180 over 145 converted to a fraction is 36 over 29. Yes, 36 over 29. And if you are using the equation editor, you will notice that your fractions will automatically turn into the vertical fractions. So number 5, it says the hockey team played 82 regular season games last year. If they won 44 games, what is the ratio of wins to losses? Now, they did not give us the losses. However, they gave us the total number of games. So, of course, if we subtract the wins from the losses, 82 minus 44, we're going to get 38. So what that tells us is the ratio of wins to losses is 44 to 38. Again, we can see that these are both even numbers, so therefore they are going to be simplified. And that gives us a ratio of 22 over 19. Now, in the word flashlight, what is the ratio of vowels to total letters? Now, I will tell you on this problem, a few people did attempt it beforehand, and the most common error was doing the vowels to consonants. So first of all, this word has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 letters total, and there are 2 vowels. Now, of course, this does require you to remember that vowels are A, E, I, O, U in English. And so that's 2 out of 10. And so that simplifies to 1 over 5. Okay. The last one that we did in class is of this section is number 7. The ratio of the measures of two complementary angles is 7 to 8. What is the measure of the smaller angle? All right, so when we were simplifying ratios up here, it's essentially dividing both the top and the bottom by the same number. Because here, if I divide 44 by 2, I get 22. And if I divide 38 by 2, I get 19. So if we're going backwards, we don't know the angles, but we know the ratio. We're going to multiply. So our first equation here is going to be that 7 times whatever common number we were able to simplify, our greatest common factor, and then 8 times our greatest common factor. And that's going to equal 90 degrees because remember, complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. So that gives us 15x equals 90. And then if you were to divide both sides by 15, that would give you a final answer of x is equal to 6. However, in this instance, they did not ask us for x. They asked us to find the measure of the smaller angle. So we can see that the smaller angle is going to be the one that is multiplied by 7. So we take 7 times 6, and that's going to equal 42. So the answer to this problem is 42 degrees. And we can just put 42. All right. If you are just doing the ones we did in class to get the 100, then you're going to want to go ahead and pause here, move to the timestamp you see on the screen, and then continue from there. If you are continuing with the extra credit, go ahead and continue the video from here. All right, so we have number 8. We have the ratio of the measures of the three angles in a triangle is 2 to 9 to 4. They want us to find the measures of the angles. So let's go ahead and first write our equation. We are going to take 2, 9, and 4. We are going to multiply them by a common factor to go backwards to find our angles. And we do need to remember that the sum of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So this is going to be 2x plus 9x plus 4x is equal to 180. We're going to combine like terms. So 2x plus 9x is 11x plus 4x is 15x. And that's going to be set equal to 180. Divide both sides by 15, and since we know that 90 is divisible by 15, it looks like it's going to be easy to do 180 by 15, because we got 90 divided by 15 is 6. So I predict that 180 divided by 15 is 12. Let's find out. Yay, 12. And that's again a practice of ratios. Okay, so we have x equals 12. Now, again, it didn't ask us for the measures of the value of x. They asked us for the measure of the angle. So it's going to be 2 times 12. One of them is going to be 24. Then we're going to have 9 times 12. And that equals 108. And then finally 4 times 12, which is going to be 48. Now, if you wanted to check, you could definitely make sure that 24 plus 108 and 48. So let's add those together. 24 plus 108 plus 48, and that does equal 180. So we're looking good. If you are typing these answers into the answer box, you can just type them with a comma between them. And if it marks it wrong, don't stress out. I will fix it for you. All right. So the next one says the ratio of the measures of three angles in a triangle is 10 to 3 to 7. They want us to find the measure of the largest angle. So again, we're going to go ahead and set up our equation of 10x plus 3x plus 7x is equal to 180. Again, because the interior angles of a triangle are equal to 180. And we have 20x because 10 plus 3 plus 7 is 20. We will next divide both sides by 20. And that will tell us that x is equal to 9. And again, it wanted us to find the measure of the largest angle. So again, we're going to take our x value and multiply it by the largest number in our ratio, which is 10. This one's going to be pretty simple. 10 times 9 is equal to 90. So the largest angle is 90 degrees. Number 10, the ratio of the measure of the vertex angle to the base angle of an isosceles triangle is 8 to 5. Find the measure of the vertex angle. Now, remember, when we have an isosceles triangle, the base angles are going to be congruent, and we do need both of them. Okay, so you can see how we, at the bottom of our triangle here, there's 67.5. No matter what I do here, those two angles are going to stay the same. So please make sure that you remember that. So when we're setting up our equation on this one, we know that we have the vertex angle, which is going to be our 8x. But we have 5x for one of the base angles and 5x for the other base angle. Please do not forget the second base angle. That is going to be the most common error on this problem. That does tell us that 18x is equal to 180. And I have a typo. Once we divide both sides by 18, we will find that x is equal to 10. And since we want to find the vertex angle, which is 8x, so we're going to say 8 times 10. I apologize if you hear that random scraping noise in the background. My dog is being a little bit crazy. 8 times 10 is 80, so the vertex angle of this triangle is 80 degrees. All right, now the ratio of this triangle, the ratio of the measures of the sides of a triangle are 21 to 8 to 14. If the perimeter of the triangle is 215 feet, find the length of each side. We're going to do the same thing we did in the previous problem with the interior angles, because perimeter is the sum of the outside angles. Sides, sorry. One moment. All right, so the ratio is 21 to 8 to 14. We don't know what we're multiplying it by. Again, we're going backwards. So we're going to have 21x plus 8x plus 14x. And that is going to be equal to 215 feet. We are going to combine like terms. So we have 21 plus 8 plus 14. And that's going to give us 43. Equals to 215. And then we're going to divide both sides by 43. And we're going to find out that x is equal to 5. Again, it did not ask me for the value of x. It asked me for the length of the sides. So one side is going to be 21 times 5. And that is going to be equal to 105. The second one is going to be 8 times 5. And that is going to be equal to 40. And finally, the last one is 14 times 5, which is 120. And the way you can enter this answer into the box here is simply 105, comma, 40, comma, 120. Okay, so remember, perimeter means the outside edge. All right, number 12, the ratio of the measures of the sides of a triangle is 4 to 7 to 5. If the perimeter is 128 yards, find the length of the longest side. So we are going to stay in yards this time, even though sometimes they'll make us convert in the middle. So we have 4x plus 7x plus 5x is going to be equal to 128 yards. We are going to go ahead and add our common denominator, our like terms. 7 plus 5 is 12, plus 4 is 16. And I do apologize if I keep stumbling over my words. It is getting a little bit later in the evening. And if we divide 128 by 16, we get that x is equal to, sorry, I lost my mouse, 8. Again, they wanted me to find the length of the longest side, so I am going to choose the biggest number in the ratio. So we have 7 times 8, and that's going to be 56. So the answer to number 12 is 56 yards. All right. So this is where we're going to pick up with the assignment as we did it in class. We're going to solve each proportion. Now I would recommend that you use a highlighter tool or some other circle tool because we are going to cross multiply. So what that means is we're going to take the number that's on the top of the left-hand side and we're going to multiply it by the number on the bottom of the right-hand side. And then we're going to do the same thing again with the bottom of the left hand to the top of the right hand. Most people call this the butterfly method. So that means we're going to have 16 times x is equal to 9 times 12. So that's 16x equals 108. And again, we're going to divide both sides by 16. You'll notice this is still looking like ratios, so we have very similar rate. That's what this is exactly the same. It's keeping things the same on both sides. It's proportional. 108 divided by 16 is 6.75. And yes, sometimes our answers are decimals. So x is equal to 6.75. Right, number 14, we're going to do the same thing, only you'll notice now we have a binomial attached to the problem. So we have x minus 3 over 18 is equal to 12 over 9. But the concept remains the same. We are simply going to multiply the top of the top of the left by the bottom of the right, and the bottom of the left by the top of the right. So that means we're going to have 9 times x minus 3. It doesn't matter what order you put them in. However, I do prefer to put the coefficient in front of the parentheses. And we're going to have 18 times 12. Now you should remember from Algebra 1 that we're going to need to distribute. So I am going to multiply what's on the outside by whatever's on the inside. And that gives me 9x minus 27 is equal to 18 times 12, which is 216. We are then going to add 27 to both sides. Oopsie. Okay. Which will give us that 9x is equal to 243? Yes, 243. And then we divide both sides by 9. And that gives us an answer of 27. So x is 27. All right, last one, number 15. We're going to take 7 and multiply it by x plus 1. And we're going to multiply 18 times 11. So 7 times x plus 1 is equal to 11 times 18. Okay, 11 times 18 is 198. So that's good. And when we distribute, we get 7x plus 7. So that's going to equal 198. I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. And that is going to leave me with 7x is equal to 191. Divide both sides by 7. Which, since 191 divided by 7 is irrational, we're going to leave it as 191 over 7 so that it becomes an exact answer. All right, now if you're not shooting for the extra credit, now you can stop here and go ahead and turn in the assignment. Make sure that all of the problems that we did in class are completed, and you will get 100 as long as they are showing all the work and have the correct answers. Now, if you are going to continue for the extra credit, I will continue on from here. So we have number 16, which is going to be 3x minus 4 over 14 is equal to 9 over 10. So again, we're going to take this binomial on the top of the left-hand side and multiply it by the bottom of the right-hand side. And then do the same thing with the bottom of the left to the top of the right. So we have 10 times 3x minus 4 is equal to 9 times 14. Once we distribute, we get 30x minus 40, and that is going to be equal to 126. Then we're going to add 40 to both sides, so we end up with 30x is equal to 166. And 166, oops, divided by 40 is 4 over 15, or 4.15, or 83 over 20. In this case, since it is a terminating decimal, 4.15 is an appropriate answer, or you can leave it as the fraction. Number 17. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to, again, top of the left by the bottom of the right, and bottom of the left by the top of the right. So that leaves us with 17 times 2x minus 2 is equal to 10 times 15. And that's going to give us, after we distribute, we get 34x minus 34 equals 150. And then I'm going to go ahead and add 34 to both sides, which gives me 34x is equal to 184. And 184 divided by 34. Whoops, I keep doing that. Is divided by 34. Okay. We get 5.41 or 92 over 17. Again, I like exact answers, so I'm going to leave it as the fraction. All right, number 18, you'll notice that we have an x in both the top and the bottom of the left-hand side. We're not going to change what we're doing. We're still going to multiply the top of the left by the bottom of the right, and the bottom of the left by the top of the right. So that's going to give me 5 times x minus 16 is equal to 3 times x plus 6. And we are going to distribute our outside. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 16 is 80. Yeah. And then we're going to distribute on the right-hand side as well. So that's going to give us 3 times x is 3x. And we're going to plus 18. I'm going to go ahead and add 80 to both sides, giving me 5x is equal to 3x plus 98. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides, leaving me with 2x equals 98. I'll divide both sides by 2. And we're going to get that x is equal to 49. All right, same thing for number 19, only instead of them being on the left-hand side, the binomials are on the right-hand side. So top left by bottom right, bottom left times top right. So we get 6 times 2x minus 2 is equal to 19 times x minus 12. So distributing, that's going to give us 12x minus 12. And that's going to be equal to 19x minus 228. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add 228 to both sides. So that's going to give me 12x plus 216. And we're going to set that equal to 19x. Then I'm going to subtract 12x from both sides. So I'm going to get 216 is equal to 7x. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can simplify that. We cannot. So we're going to go ahead and leave it as x is equal to 216 over 7. Now the answers do not say to solve or to round, so we're going to leave them as exact, or the instructions, sorry. All right, number 20, they are both on top. Both of our binomials are numerators. Again, that's going to make it still simple. Top times the bottom, so left to right. Bottom times the top. Let's get that blue. So that's going to give me 10 times x minus 9 is equal to 15 times 2x minus 9. Oops. So we're going to distribute. So we get 10x minus 90 is equal to 24x minus 108. Oh, I have a typo. This should be 15x. So 15 here. So that's 30x minus 135. All right, I'm going to add 135 to both sides. So that's going to give me 10x plus 45 is equal to 30x. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 10 from both sides, which gives me 45 is equal to 20x. And when we divide both sides by 20 and simplify, so we're going to have 45 over 20. So that's 9 over 4, I believe. Let's double check that. Yay, 9 over 4. All right, so number 21 is going to be a little bit more complicated because we are going to be multiplying binomials by binomials. Same thing over on 22. This is going to require you to tap back into your Algebra 1 skills. There are several ways to solve these. We're still going to go from left top to right bottom and left bottom to right top. So the first thing we're going to do is say that x minus 9 times x plus 4 is equal to 56 times 3. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the left-hand side, and then we're going to get it set equal to 0. So if you remember, we do double distribution. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the first number times the first number times the second number, and then the second number times the first number, and the second number times the second number. Now, some people will call this foiling because it's our first number times our first number, our outside number times our outside number, inside number times our inside number, and our last number times our last number. So our first number times our first number is going to be x squared. I am going to go ahead again, use the equation editing tool. And to get the exponent, I hit the caret, which is shift and 6. All right, so x squared, x times 4 is going to be positive 4x. Negative 9 times x is negative 9x, or minus 9, and then minus 36. And then that's going to be equal to 168. I'll put this right here. Okay, so then what we're going to do is simplify the left-hand side by combining like terms. So we get x squared minus 5x minus 36 is equal to 168. Now, I like to solve these by graphing or by factoring, but the easiest way to do it is to solve by graphing. So first I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 168 from both sides because I need this to be equal to 0 on the right-hand side. Put that right there. So that is going to give me x squared minus 5x minus 204 equals 0. And then what we can do here is we can bring our Desmos calculator up and we can copy the left-hand side and we can graph it. And it needs to be y equals, sorry. Alright, and I need to find it. Okay, so now we can just see where it crosses. So what is this point here? This is 17, 0. And this is negative 12, 0. So our answers are 17 and negative 12. And the way we write that is x is equal to negative 12, comma, 17. Close curly brackets. All right, last problem. We have 7 over x plus 1 is equal to 2x over 36. So we're going to do the same thing we did on the previous problem that we've been doing on all the problems. And just for consistency. My red to blue. All right, so I've got 7 times 36 is equal to 2x minus 1. And x over 7 over x plus 1 is equal to 2x minus 1 over 36. We're going to multiply the numbers together. So again, we're going to have 2x minus 1 times x plus 1 is equal to 7 times 36. All right, so again, we're going to do our double distribution. First term by the first term. First term by the outside term, so outside times outside. Inside times inside. And in time or last times last. So that will give us 2x squared plus 2x minus x minus 1 is equal to 7 times 36, which is 252. We're going to simplify the left-hand side. So that's going to give us 2x squared plus x minus 1 is equal to 252. And then we're going to go ahead and subtract 252 from both sides. So that gives me 2x squared plus x minus 253 equals 0. And let's go ahead and graph that. We make our life simpler. There's no reason to make our lives harder. Although you could solve this using the quadratic formula, which is x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. But why make things harder than they have to be? Let's go ahead and delete the previous problem. And let's go ahead and graph it. And that gives me 11.5, negative 11.5, and 11. Now, if you want to see something really cool, from this stage right here, as long as you set up the problem, if you're doing it in quadratics, that means if you have x squared. Oops. I meant to copy that, not. Okay. So I'm going to take it from this. As long as you can set it up correctly, you get those exact same answers. So as long as you set it up correctly, you can put it in the Desmos calculator and it will help you get the answers. Okay, so the answers to this final problem is going to be that x is equal to curly bracket negative 11.5 comma 11 close curly bracket, and that is the end of this assignment. So if you went ahead and attempted all 22 problems, your maximum grade will be 115. If you do simply the 10 problems we did in class, you will receive 100. Please make sure you turn this in on Google Classroom so that I know to grade it. Thanks, guys. Bye.